Devansh, good evening. Am I audible, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Let me just wait for others. Within 2 minutes, we'll start. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
And બધું solve થઈ ગયું દેવાંશ કે બાકી છે?
You solve, ma'am.
Okay, સારું. તો આજે આપણે speaking, writing task 1 and listening. That is what we are going to do today. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yep. Okay, meanwhile we can do one thing Devansh. So તારું speaking ચાલુ કરી દઉં છું. Let everybody join from behind. ચાલશે? Speaking ચાલુ કરી દઉં તારા સાથે?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sure. So first, could you please tell me your full name?
My name is Devansh Nitin Kumar Chao. I'm
Okay. Devansh, what is the meaning of your name?
uh, a part of a god.
Okay. Do you like your name or would you like to change it?
No, I really like my name.
Okay. If given a chance, what skill would you like to learn and why?
Uh, I would really love to learn the skill of developing an app because I
Hmm.
really want to develop an app.
Okay. Which country would you like to visit abroad? Which country would you like to go to abroad and why would you like to go there?
Uh, I like to visit USA because it is the most developed country in the world and also the ease of living is very good.
Hmm. Okay. Uh, is there is any subject that you found very difficult during your school days? If yes, then why?
Yes, Sanskrit is a subject which I used to found it difficult because I was very new to it and suddenly I got know that I have to learn Sanskrit. Within a 1 year, I have to give exam.
Okay, good. Uh, which subject do you find interesting now?
Right now,
Yes, which subject do you find interesting? Am I audible? My question is which subject you find interesting now?
hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Which subject do you find interesting now?
I like to have the most interesting subject I like is designing subject in mechanical because I like to design various things which includes machine parts and uh, automobiles design.
Okay, great. I'm giving you a cue card topic. Please write it down.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second. Repeat થતું હશે તો મને કહેજે. एक minute, huh? Let me just remove the topics. Okay, write down. Describe a time. Describe a time. Am I audible, Devansh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, describe a time when you were sleepy. When you were sleepy. When you were sleepy, but had to stay awake. but but had to stay awake.
Okay, ma'am.
Rakyu?
Yes,
Okay. Write down the bullet points. When it was and where you were. When it was and where you were. Next, why you were sleepy. Why you were sleepy. And next, why you had to stay awake. Why you had to stay awake. And the next, how you stayed awake at that moment. How you stayed
okay, ma'am.
how you stayed awake at that moment. Written all the bullet points.
Yes,
Okay, I'll be giving you 1 minute to prepare and then you'll be having 2 minutes to speak over your topic. Okay,
ma'am.
so the timer of 1 minute starts now. Okay, time's up. Devansh, ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Kalapika and the next person 18CP010. Who is this? 18CP010. May I have your name?
Vidhi.
Nidhi. Okay. Both of you please wait for a while. Let me finish it up with Devansh. Then I'll come one by one to you. Okay.
Okay,
Devansh,
ma'am.
you may now start. See, examiner might stop you before 2 minutes as well, looking at your speech and the fluency that you have, but I would be giving you completely 2 minutes. So just make sure that you have enough of the content to speak. Okay, Devansh? Now you may start your topic now.
Uh, say,
Devansh, hold on. आवाज નથી આવતો બેટા તારો.
ma'am, can I get some more time? I just forgot what I was going to speak.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me know when you're ready. I'm waiting. Do one thing, Kalapika, take your cue card so that you people prepare meanwhile.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Kalapika, your cue card is describe an interesting talk. Describe an interesting talk or lecture you have heard or attended. Describe an interesting talk or lecture you have heard or attended. Write down who was the speaker. Who was the speaker? Next, when and where you heard or attended it. When and where you heard or attended it. Next, what it was about. What it was about. What it
Okay.
was about and Explain why you think it was interesting. And explain why you think it was interesting. Done? Kalapika,
Yes, ma'am.
start preparing. It is next is Nidhi or Vidhi. It is N or V.
Viti.
Vidhi. Okay. Vidhi, write down beta your topic.
Yes, ma'am.
Describe a time when you complained about something. Describe a time when you complained about something. In that, write down what was the issue. What was the issue? Whom you complained about it. Whom you complained about it. What the result was. What the result was. And explain how you felt about it. And explain how you felt about it. And explain how you felt about it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Now તમે ત્રણે પહેલા પ્રિપેર કરી લો. Once it is done, chat box માં done લખી દેજો. ઓકે, આરામથી પ્રિપેર કરો, કઈ ઉતાવળ નથી. Okay, fine. Devansh, please start.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
It was the last week when I suddenly got the news that I had to travel to Vadodara because of critical condition of my grandfather, and it was around 3 a.m. that I got the news. Uh, I was at my home, and I just slept at 2 a.m. because I used to sleep late at night for since 4 or 5 years, and I only
Mhm.
got sleep of 1 hour, and I had to stay away because I was only the one to drive and reach to the destination. So I stayed awake by getting fresh, drinking coffee, and then so that I can stay awake and reach the destination safely.
Hmm. Continue.
Done, ma'am.
नहीं चले देवांश इजी टॉपिक है बेटा इट इज ओनली 1 minute 50 seconds હજુ પ્રિપેર કર કઈ વાંધો નહીં થોડી ડેપ્થમાં બોલ ઓકે ત્યાં સુધી હું કલાપિકાનું ફેઝ 1 લઈ લઉં થશે
Yes, ma'am.
ઓકે ફરી પ્રિપેર કર કઈ વાંધો નહીં કલાપિકા વિલ કેન વી સ્ટાર્ટ વિથ ફેઝ 1
Okay, ma'am.
ઓકે just a minute okay could you please tell me your name
My name is Kalapika Vatsal.
okay Kalapika talking about an accommodation what type of accommodation do you live in yes what type of accommodation do you live in સંભળાય છે બેટા
Hello, ma'am.
yes what type of accommodation do you live in
I'm staying at a. Uh, I live in a house uh, in a
Mhm.
society.
Okay. Which is your favorite room in house?
I like my bedroom the most because there I can uh, there I can do anything such as studying or playing music or resting.
Is there any change that you would like to bring in your house or home? If yes, then why?
Um, I would like to change the color of my house because uh, it got very old and there are very some these days there are so many new colors, so I would like to try them on.
Okay. Do you plan to live at the same place in the future as well?
Yes, I'm planning to stay at the same place. Additionally, we would like to, I mean, me and my parents would like to buy a new house too.
Okay. Okay. Talking about weather, what kind of weather do you generally like and why?
I generally like winter because it's cold and you can um, you can wear woolen clothes all the day and it feels good.
Okay. Great. Does weather affects your mood? If yes, then which weather affects your mood?
According to me, summer, I mean, hot weather, hot and warm weather affects me the most because it gets so sweaty and so that I am not in mood to do anything. I just prefer to sit in AC, sit in a room where there is AC all the day alone.
Okay, great. Are you ready with your topic, Kalapika?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, start.
To start with, I think almost all the students find lectures less amusing, and so it takes a lot of effort and communication skills for a lecturer to connect with the audience. One such lecture I remember from my school days, and that was related to motivation, and it also included some health related topics. I actually don't remember the person who gave the lecture, but I think some person from that person was from some NGO, and they used to carry out such programs in the school so that the children and the students could know about such health related topics, and so that they can work on those issues. I was in 10th standard, as much as I remember. Uh, it was interesting. I think it was interesting because at the end of the lecture, the that the that person um, played games with us, and those games were very interesting. It
Hmm.
involved the whole bunch of students, and the person itself, the person himself played the games with us, and those were very funny games, and that involved the participation from each and every student, from each and every group. And so I found it very interesting because
Stop, stop. Okay, you spoke for 2 minutes completely. That is a good one. Okay, but only in starting you used to start with and everything. It can also be used in between. Okay, Kalapika, હજુ મેં કીધું તું તને range of grammar line. Neither,
uh,
neither nor. Remember, not only but also we were talking. Not only this to એટલે range આવી શકે છે Kalapika, and તમે કરી શકો છો. તો try to speak it.
okay, ma'am.
Yes. Rest is fine and good, right? Talking
Okay.
about your phase three now, do you think that now it is a day where computers or the e-classes will overtake the physical classrooms?
No, I don't think that those online lectures and those computers will take over the physical lectures, because uh, uh, that medium the medium that is computer could not connect with the students that easily, and
Hmm.
it becomes difficult for the teachers and professors to explain some topic to them
Okay.
very deeply and very um,
Moving on to the topic of role of electronic devices in today's society. Do you think people spend too much money on electronic devices?
yeah, according to me, each and every family in the world has a wide range of electronic devices. Even for small purpose, they buy electronic gadgets for ease, for
Hmm.
for making their work simpler.
Okay, so in what ways electronic devices can make people's life harder?
I think electronic devices make a person lazy, and more I mean the person will
Hmm.
in such a mindset that the work is done by the gadget and so I don't have to do anything.
Okay. Should children be taught to use computers in school?
Yes, I think children should be learn computers because the emerging technology is more dependent on computers. So a basic idea about how to use them and how to work with them is necessary for the students to learn.
Okay. Uh, what kind of skills should children learn uh, during their during their school days? What kind of skill they should be learning?
According to me, students should learn um, uh, various number of skills like dancing, music. They can learn music. They can even uh,
Hmm.
explore sports area. There are various different types of sports which can also benefit them health wise.
Hmm.
Other skills like sketching, drawing can also improve their creativity, their innovative mind. They can improve that, and certain mathematical classes, math classes can make their mind very fast and um,
That's all.
yes.
Okay. Not an issue. Kalapika, I can score you 6.5 for the change that you have tried to bring as per the last discussion. That is good. You're able to complete your task. You're able to share it. Now we need to just dhire dhire work on the intonation part. Okay. So the speech should not look flat.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Rest is fine. Okay. 6.5 will keep it today. Good one.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Devansh, ready, beta? Devansh? Okay. Devansh, you can now start.
1 week ago on Wednesday, it was a crucial time when I was very sleepy, but I had to stay awake because I got a call at around 3 a.m. that my grandfather was in very critical situation, and I was at my home but had to travel, and uh, I was very sleepy because I did not get enough sleep, and I just slept about an hour ago, and also woke up at very
Hmm.
next hour.
Hmm.
Also, I have to drive and reach the destination as soon as possible, and there was nobody who could drive at that moment. So I had to stay awake. And uh, after when as soon as I wake up, I drank bullet coffee and got fresh. And then while traveling, I listened to the music which would keep me fresh and stay awake at that time and reach the destination safely.
Okay. That's all. 1 minute 15 seconds again. Okay, वांधो
I
नहीं
don't
बेटा.
speak anything than this.
I got your point. The thing is, you have to just take care about the content. तो story જેવું બોલીશ ને તો તને મજા આવશે. સ્ટોરી જેવું ના બોલું તો એમાં પછી એવું થઈ જશે કે ખબર નહીં કે કેવી રીતે you'll be able to do it and all those things. So it's always better to, present it like a story in that case. है ना?
Yes, ma'am.
एक तरह से, right? Okay. Uh, Now coming down to phase 3, Do you think that nowadays people feel sleepy because they are very inefficient or they are inactive?
Yes, ma'am. I feel that people do feel sleepy when they are inefficient and inactive because sitting idly will lead to sleep, and only the active person who
Mm-hmm.
is involved in work will get a better sleep and at a proper time. But people ideally will sleep any at any time at any place.
Okay. What can be the reason of this?
Laziness can be a reason of this.
Okay. Can you state some of the reasons?
Reasons. Okay, a person working working and being active throughout a day will get a proper shift at a perfect schedule. But someone who is not doing any work, uh, is idle at all the time, will sleep at any time, like at afternoon, at night. He will wake up in the morning. He won't wake up in the morning, but the active people will always have a fixed time, that is from 10 p.m. to morning 6 or 7 p.m.
Okay. If I talk about the city, in your opinion, what makes a city a good one to live?
City with better government facilities like traveling, government buses, then metro, which which makes the which makes people to travel easily and with low cost. Also, the uh, pollution pollution rate can be a major factor to live in the city because everyone likes to live in a clean city. Also, city must be well developed
Hmm?
and also with less population.
Okay. What about the air quality? What can people do to improve the air quality of the city?
They can plant more trees. That's the only way to reduce the air quality. And then not having any industries inside the city, it is also a good thing when the industries that the industries are away from the cities, which will reduce the air quality index. Also, they have to travel more in the public public transport, so that so that more private vehicles does not cause air
Hmm.
pollution.
Okay, so moving on to positive aspects of the city, from positive to negative aspects of the city, in your opinion, what are the negative points of crowded city?
Negative points of
Of crowded city.
negative. Okay, so the more population means people will have more private vehicles, which will uh, cause more traffic, also noise pollution, and of course air pollution.
Hmm.
More crowd means more garbage, and also the waste will be more. So it's better to be in a less crowded cities.
Okay, great. Speaking about the company now, how can a company maintain the quality of service that is that which is given by them to public?
They should ask from their customers how to what they need, how they can improve by by asking them to rate their services. They
Hmm.
should the company should deliver the couriers or whatever they does in a proper time and in a perfect manner,
Whatever they do, not they does, whatever they do.
whatever they do. And
Hmm.
product must be not damaged.
Hmm. Product must not be damaged. Okay, fine, not an issue. So yes, overall a good one again. I made your phase 3 more because I wanted to score you on the basis of your language. So yes, you can still be at 6. Point five करके मेहनत करो please, because of only phase 2 you're lacking that. So I think once you completely speak your phase 2, it would be your overall performance of yours, and yes, that would completely affect your bands in a positive way.
Yeah,
Clear?
ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
देवांश आज માટે 6 રાખીએ, ઠીક છે?
Yes, ma'am.
And દેવાંશ next time બહુ વિચારીને ના બોલીશ. જે બી તને ઠીક લાગતું હોય, whatever you feel is relevant and it is good, you can try to speak that easily. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Now let's start with listening.
Yes.
Okay, you all are ready with your listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Just give me a moment. I'll play the listening for you then. Let me know if you are able to listen first. Is it audible?
Write all your answers in the Yes, ma'am. listening question booklet.
Devansh, was it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
At the
Yeah.
end of the real test, hit the surface the blade hard.
પહેલા ચેક કરી લો, આન્સર્સ દેખાય છે, right? First check.
Why you ma'am? Check.
થઈ ગયું કલાપિકા?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So score શું છે?
30.
29, ma'am.
Okay, just a second. Huh? Okay. How much did you score, Kalapika?
30.
30, that's good. 7. Devansh,
29.
29, 6.5. કેમ 8 નહીં આવતા તમારા? 6.5, 7 પર કેમ?
મેમ આમાં સ્પોર્ટ્સ સેક્શનમાં ઓડિયો બહુ જ અનક્લિયર હતું એટલે કઈ ખબર નહોતી પડતી.
એવું છે?
હા.
Okay. And Devansh?
I'm same reason. Audio was not that much clear.
Okay. See, in the case now, because હું જ્યારે લિંક મૂકું ને, હું ઓડિયો સાંભળતી નથી. This time I try to do it from my end. But next time એવું છે ને કે તમને ઓડિયોમાં બહુ મજા નહીં આવતી હોય, તો એ જે ટાઇટલ હોય ને, જેમ કે આ ઓડિયોનું નામ હતું ઓક્સફર્ડ IELTS પ્રેક્ટિસ ટેસ્ટ 2. Okay, so try to put and see the options in the YouTube. You can solve any of the audio whichever you feel comfortable. I'm not going to say anything on that beta. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
but practice complete કરવાનું, right? તો next time ઓડિયોથી રિલેટેડ એવું કશું થાય ને, તો તમે જાતે બી ઓડિયો YouTube પર ટાઈપ કરીને ફાઇન્ડ કરો, જે બી whatever you find relevant and good to hear and audible, use that. કઈ વાંધો નહીં. Okay, let us solve together. 1 to 10 માં કઈ doubt છે?
No, ma'am.
1 to 10 all are correct?
Yes.
9.
શું
Wrong.
wrong થયો?
9th.
9th? Okay.
On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this
will be played first. Expats Helpline, Terry Davies here. What can I do for you? So I'll run through the list if you like.
Yes, please.
So passport has been written in for you.
I think I'm going to need to open a bank account. I haven't had one before, so I'm wondering what paperwork.
From your country would be out of Canada.
Okay. Would it
Uh,
actually inside the commercials haven't changed?
to check their website. It's open from 9:30 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon.
And it's on the top, bring anything there.
And answer questions 8 to 10. There are plenty of other banks within walking distance, you know. It may be worth shopping around to see what they've got to offer. Longer opening hours, including Saturdays, perhaps less crowded.
Can you tell me how to get to a couple of them? I know where the commercial centre is, so that's probably my best starting place.
Sure. For the Royal Bank, you need to turn left when you leave the center. Go.
You need to turn left when you leave the center. That means this is where she is standing. Now she'll be taking left, right?
Along Market Street, past the post office.
Past the post office. So this is the post office. Past the post office. Here you reach.
And turn left up Bridge Street.
Left up Bridge Street. That is this.
Past the Shaw Theatre. Then you take the first right.
First
You'll
right.
see an internet cafe on the other side. And the Royal is just a bit further along on the right, directly opposite the Park Hotel.
Directly opposite the Park Hotel. So this is the Royal Bank where he stays. Now we are standing here.
What about the Northern Bank?
For that one, you turn right as you come out of the center.
Again, out of the center. पहले left उन्होंने कहा था, but अभी उन्होंने क्या कहा? You turn right when you come out of the center. I turned right.
And go along Market Street until you come to the junction with West Street.
Junctions of the West Street.
There you turn right again and carry on up as far as the next junction where you take a left. You'll
Where
see
you
the
take a
bank from
left.
there. It's the third building on the right.
Third building on the right. So when you take left, your third building on the right, this is your right. So 1, 2 and 3. That is option A. कलापी का खबर पड़ी? Yes. कलापी का? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Kalapika, where is she? Did you understood what I explained?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Then number 10 ma suhatu.
And the last one, the National Bank.
You can go either way from the center, really. Up West Street or Bridge Street, and then along past City Hall. The bank is on the
City
other
Hall.
side of the road, right next to the tourist office.
Right next to the tourist office. That is C. So C was your option. Okay. Anyone from 11 to 20? Anyone from 11 to 20?
16.
16?
You can't miss it.
Great.
13, 14, and 72, 23.
Oh ho, Devansh. They to list le aaye. Okay, I'll solve section 2 completely. Just try to pay attention. The first step says preparing things to take dash. That means gather all the documents, example copies of resume, choose dash, example design, drawings and written work.
And answer questions 11 to 14.
What's the best way to approach it?
A job interview is simply a meeting between you and a potential employer to discuss your qualifications and see if there is a fit. The employer wants to verify what they know about you and talk about your qualifications. If you have been called for an interview, you can assume that the employer is interested in you. The employer has a need that you may be able to meet. So it's your goal to identify that need and convince the employer that you're the one for the job. As everyone knows, interviews can be stressful, but when you're well prepared, there's no reason to panic. Preparation is the key to success in a job search, and you can begin by collecting together all the documents you may need for the interview, such as extra copies of your resume, lists of references, and letters of recommendation. You could also take some work samples.
So take, that means work sample. Choose work samples.
Selecting from what you have designed, drawn, or written, for instance.
So she gave that example.
And make sure you have a pen and pad of paper for taking notes. The next step is to find out about the post. The more you know about the job, the employer, and the industry, the better prepared you will be to target your qualifications. Always request a job description from
Always request a job description. So यहाँ बोला है ask firm for a, that is job description. So job description should become your answer.
employer and research employer profiles at the Chamber of Commerce or local library. You could also try to network with people who work for the company or with employees of companies associated with it.
Associated with it, that means related firm. So contact किसको करना है? Employees of this or related firms, right? So you have to contact employees.
The next step is to match your qualifications to the requirements of the job. A good approach is to write out your qualifications along with the job requirements. Think about some standard interview questions and how you might respond. Most questions are designed to find out more about you, your qualifications, or to test your reactions in a given situation. If you don't have any experience or skills in a required area,
Okay, if you don't have का मतलब you lack क्या? Experience or skill. Clear था 14th?
Yes, ma'am.
think about how you might compensate for those decisions.
So think about, that means decide how to compensate. That means make up for any of those.
That you be yourself. Get a good night's sleep and plan your travel to be there in plenty of time so that you're not arriving out of breath with 30 seconds to spare. Don't, though, present yourself for the interview too early. 10 minutes at most.
10 minutes at most. So arrive no more than 10 minutes before the time of the interview. So 10 minutes is good. Not too early, right?
In the interview, listen carefully to each question asked. Take your time in responding and make sure
You can take your time before you reply. That means responding. So take your time in responding. That's why what statement they have written, you just have to write take your time.
your answers are positive. It's important to express a good attitude and show that you're willing to work, eager to learn, and are flexible. If you are unsure of a question, don't be afraid to ask for clarification.
So you can ask what clarification. So ask for clarification if you don't understand what they are asking you.
In fact, it's sometimes a good strategy to close a response with a question for the interviewer. In general, focus on your qualifications and look for opportunities to personalize the interview. Briefly answer questions with examples of how you responded in comparable situations from either your life or previous job experiences. Something you should avoid are yes or no responses to questions, but don't dwell too long on non-job related topics. Use caution if you are questioned about your salary requirements.
Use caution if you are questioned about your salary requirement.
The best strategy is to avoid the question until you have been offered a job.
So wait for them to offer you the job before you say what salary you want. Okay, that means what salary it was she is talking about. Until and unless you are offered, you don't discuss the salary like that. Okay.
Questions about salary asked before there is a job offer are usually screening questions that may eliminate you from consideration. Be warned. On the other hand, it isn't inappropriate to show your enthusiasm if your first impressions of the interview and of the employer are good ones. So, if the job sounds like what you are looking for, say so. Keep in mind that the interview is not over when you are asked if you have any questions. Come prepared to ask a couple of specific questions that again show your knowledge and interest in the job. Close the interview in the same friendly, positive manner in which you started. When the interview is over, leave promptly. Don't overstay your time. Think about the interview and learn from the experience. Evaluate the success and failures. The more you learn from the interview, the easier the next one will become. You'll become much more confident.
So you
Suppose
become,
here are
learning from the experience will make you, that means you become much more confident.
a few more tips. First, maintain good eye contact throughout the interview and be aware of nonverbal body language. Second, dress a step above what you would wear on the job. Go to the hairdresser, have a shave, etc. Remember that your appearance is a key indicator of whether you
Okay. So what she was talking about, go to hairdresser and everything. That means what you need to pay attention on your appearance. That means it shows you a positive attitude. Clear? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
have the right attitude.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24.
As you know, this week you choose your modules for the first year of study. So this introductory meeting is aimed at helping you make informed choices. I think the best way to do this is on a question and answer basis. So we'd like to start. Pat.
Yes, there's something I've been wondering about. Will my choice affect my career opportunities?
Well, for most students, the choice of level 1 modules won't be crucial in terms of affecting career. In fact, most graduate level jobs will accept graduates from a range of degree courses. Employers will often be at least as interested in how well a student has performed academically and how the whole experience of university has developed the student as a person, as in the detailed course options chosen.
कहाँ के students, what they are talking?
University.
University. So result of being at university.
Selecting modules that will interest you and in which you think you will be particularly successful is therefore also likely to make good sense in career terms.
So you need to choose what? Which you are interested in. So choose interesting module. See, this is summary, so it is paraphrase. You need to use the word which completes your sentence. So choose interesting modules that you may do well in.
On certain degree courses, though, module choice can be important. This applies mainly to vocational courses, where the degree confers on accredited professional training.
Okay. So think more carefully about your choice. If your course is what? Which courses?
Okay.
Vocational courses.
As well as university education. Usually the modules students are required to take will include all those needed to meet those professional requirements. Your academic department, in this case chemical and process engineering, and the university's career service will be able to advise you. And
Okay. University का क्या? Who will able to advise you? Doubt check के लिए कौन? Career service.
service.
So career service at the university will be able to advise you.
Pleased to help you sort out.
To look at questions 25.
Engineering module.
Fine. What would you like to know?
Well, apart from the work on practical,
Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
I'd like to ask a few things about the applied chemical engineering module.
Fine. What would you like to know?
Well, apart from the work on practical engineering, what other topics are covered?
Some that might surprise you. One that students always seem to like includes interviewing techniques, presentation skills, and producing written reports.
They sound interesting. How are they taught?
Through lectures, practical classes, and personal tutorials. Applied chemical engineering lasts all year, of course, so there's plenty of time.
So for 25, it is clearly A. Yes, skills, developing skills.
Yes,
And what about assessment?
Through project work, usually, or dissertation, not exams as such.
Is that the same for the information technology part of the module?
Yes, things like word processing and learning to create spreadsheets are tested in a similar way on this module.
That's not the case in some other modules, is it?
No, it isn't. Are you thinking of any in particular?
Yes, I'm considering doing fluid mechanics. The work on flow analysis looks interesting, and I like the look of some of the other topics too. So, how is that module tested?
That's one of those which still uses written exams. The sit-down formal type, I'm afraid.
Oh, that doesn't matter. I quite like that kind as it happens.
Pat, you've got a question.
Yes. I was wondering about Science 1 in chemical engineering. How is that organised? It's a bit different from other modules, isn't it?
Yes, it aims to give the necessary basis of physics and biology for those students who haven't studied the relevant subjects at A-level or equivalent. In practice, it means
Exemption from part of a module. What you have understood with this question and what you both have marked.
correct. Let's remember now.
They said na, that it is different from other modules, right?
Yes,
Then
yes.
she speaks na, that means chemical engineering जिसने science 1 किया हो. So that is what you call exemption. Exemption means इसमें ये चीज नहीं होगा तो भी चलेगा, like that. In exemption कहवा है. तो C आवे की सु आवे आमा. B और C माथी.
See,
Getting it?
that students who have already studied physics are excused the physics lectures, while those who've done biology are exempt from attending the biology lectures.
Getting it? Exempt.
In the second part of the module, you're assessed on your project work in one of those subjects.
And does the teaching approach differ too?
Yes, particularly in one respect. You're encouraged to learn by working out the solutions to problems for yourself.
I like the sound of that.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, I believe it's possible to do a modern language as part of the course. Can you tell me a bit about the Spanish 1A module?
Certainly. The main emphasis in 1A is on understanding and speaking. Students also learn to carry out some straightforward reading and writing tasks. Basic aspects of grammar are also introduced and practiced. The module comprises
1A, that is applied, huh? So basically when he talks about those who want to do biology, they do with biology, that is C. And those who want to do mechanics, like physics, they can be exempted from the physics, but they are assessed with this. So here it is A again. And again, when she talk about the speaking, when it comes to the courses where you need to take care of the language, so speaking and writing skills, that would go for again for
36 hours of class contact, mainly in tutorial groups of 16 to 20, and students are expected to do approximately 64 hours of private study.
It sounds interesting. I did some Spanish at the Cervantes Institute last year. Passed an exam, in fact.
Ah, I'm afraid that means you can't do 1A. The regulations say this module may not be taken by students with a qualification in Spanish, though you could do 1B.
what is 1B? Yes.
1B નો નહીં કશું એની અંદર.
1B એને કયા reference માટે કીધું? What he is explaining was clearly for this applied fluids and chemical. So what he referred to? Speaking and writing skills માં શું ખબર પડી ને problem solving માં શું ખબર પડી? It is not in sequence, huh? Answers are not in sequence. Those who want to do applied cannot do this. He was talking about speaking and writing skills. Then you have to solve the problem on your own. તો આ જે વસ્તુ હતી ત્રણ એ કયા ફિલ્ડ થી રિલેટેડ એ કહેતા હતા કલાપિકા?
Chemical engineering.
કેમિકલ એન્જિનિયરિંગ થી રિલેટેડ કહેતા હતા. ઓકે, he is just using that 1B and 1A to divert you. 1A he actually referred to that applied chemical ના thing માં જે છે ને science માં. So આ એવું નથી કે one by one એ લોકો બોલે છે. He just gave all the information together regarding one feature. So from your 29 and 30, sorry, 28 and 29, he talked about speaking and writing skills, right? So speaking and writing skills, when it comes to Spanish, writing skills એમાં આવે applied chemical માં આવે કે chemical engineering માં?
C option.
Yes, C પાકો? problem solving C માં હતું કે writing skills C માં હતું?
Problem solving હતું C માં.
Problems, yes, problem solving C માં હતું ને? તો 28 માં writing skills કોના માટે use કર્યું હતું એને? સાંભળો ફરી. Applied chemical engineering matter.
For yourself.
See, this is for C.
Okay.
Something about Science 1 in chemical engineering. How is that organised? It's a bit different from other modules, isn't it?
Yes, it aims to give the necessary basis of physics and biology for those students who haven't studied the relevant subjects at A level or equivalent. In practice, it means that students who have already studied physics are excused the physics lectures, while those who've done biology are exempt from attending the biology lectures.
So here you got A, and 26 you got C, exemption for the biology lectures.
Second part of the module, you're assessed on project work in one of those subjects.
And does the teaching approach differ too?
Yes, particularly in one respect. You're encouraged to learn by working out the solutions to problems for yourself.
Working out the solutions for the problems for yourself. Science 1 માટે કહે છે હજુ, right? So હું 29 માં C લખી દઈશ.
I like the sound of that.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes. I believe it's possible to do a modern language as part of the course. Can you tell me a bit about the Spanish 1A module?
Certainly. The main emphasis in 1A is on understanding and speaking. Students also learn to carry out some straightforward reading and writing tasks. Basic aspects of grammar are also introduced and practiced. The module comprises 36 hours of class content.
It sounds interesting. I did some Spanish at the Cervantes Institute last year. Passed an exam, in fact.
Ah, I'm afraid that means you can't do 1A. The regulations say this module may not be taken by students with a qualification in Spanish, though you could do 1B.
So whatever at the end he spoke just to divert you. Getting it? So તમારે જે 26 exempt ની વાત થઈ and જે તમારા 29 problem solving ની વાત થઈ, both are in science 1, right? જે computer skills ની વાત થઈ, જેમાં એને examination ની વાત કરી હતી, એ examination ને computer skills એમાં વાત થઈ હતી chemical, applied chemical માટે, science 1 માટે નહીં. બંને both are chemical engineering, but one is for applied and one is for science 1. For that he referred to at the end and switching it towards the speaking Spanish wala thing. Okay, and fluid mechanics was only the what exemption that he not exemption, I'm sorry, for this he was talking about the examination, and exemption was talked for the this chemical engineering. So sorry. Okay, understood or still confused? Devansh, Kalapika, I
Yes,
cannot
ma'am.
switch the tab. 30 માં શું માર્ક કર્યું?
C.
બંને? ઓકે, કેમ C આવે થઈ? On what basis you marked C?
મેમ બોલે જ છે.
શું સેન્ટેન્સ તો કે શું બોલે છે? શું સમજીને માર્ક કર્યો એમ પૂછું છું.
% નું બોલે છે ને પછી 64% નું બોલે છે. પહેલા 36% બોલે છે.
ઓકે.
Test 4. Section 4. You will hear part of a lecture.
The regulations say this module may not be taken by students with a qualification in Spanish, though you could do 1B.
That is the end of section 3. You will hear part of a lecture about a crater in Australia. First, you have some time to
Why this is not getting changed? Test 4 માં problem થયો તો કલાપિકા ને દેવાંશ.
Yes, ma'am.
read questions 31 to 40. Questions 31 to 40.
Lake Acraman in South Australia is Armageddon for the
ક્લિયર છે.
Not
Clear?
some video.
No. સારો.
No other meteorite impact on Earth has stamped the surrounding rocks with such an abiding, unequivocal geological record of collision, earthquake, wind, fire and tsunami, the giant waves formed by major Earth movements. The story it tells is elemental, without dying dinosaurs or even Bruce Willis to complicate the simple message of destruction. First, the numbers. About 590 million years ago, a rocky meteorite more than 4
Meteorite is here. This is the keyword.
kilometers across and traveling at around 90,000 kilometers an hour
How much? 90,000 kilometer an hour, right? So 90,000 would be written here in 31.
slammed into an area of red volcanic rock about 430 kilometers northwest of Adelaide. Within seconds, the meteorite vaporized in a ball of fire, carving out a crater about 4 kilometers deep.
Crater बोला, that is 4 kilometers deep. So यहाँ पे depth लिखा है. So just 4 kilometers लिखना था.
And 40 kilometers in diameter, and spawning
So diameter का कितना कहा? 40 kilometers. So that would be the answer. The crater at Arkaman is nowadays entirely covered by seawater. One of the most beautiful, less spectacular. Just the keywords.
earthquakes fierce enough to raise 100-meter high tsunamis in a shallow sea 300 kilometers away. Ancient, stable and unglaciated, the bedrock of Australia preserves some of the most photogenic impact craters in the world.
Yes. What name does he took? What are the things he talked about crater? Keywords? Okay.
Sea 300 kilometers away. Ancient, photogenic impact craters in the world. Acraman is not one of them. 500 million years of erosion has taken its toll. A salt pan surrounded by low hills is all that remains to mark the site of the cataclysm. The true nature of the place dawned on geologist George Williams of Adelaide University in 1979. Gazing at a sheaf of newly acquired satellite images, he saw the small circular shape of Lake Acraman surrounded by a ring of faults and low scarps 40 kilometers across, and an outer ring twice this size. A year later, he made it to the site. On islands near the center of the lake, Williams found bedrock shattered in a conical pattern that experts consider a sure sign of a meteorite impact. Except for a crater, which had long since eroded, the area was a textbook example of an impact site.
Okay, 31 કલાપિકા. શું સાંભળીને શું માર્ક કર્યું?
એ નંબર્સ બધા બરાબર છે 34 35 માં.
ઓકે 34 માં પર કે છે શું? એવા ટાઈપનો ક્વેશ્ચન આવે તો કેવી રીતે સોલ્વ કરું છું MCQs?
એટલે એ 34 માં તો કશું સંભળાયું ના એટલે પછી બી કરી દીધું તું.
ઓકે. ને દેવાંશ તારું 34 રાઈટ છે? ઓકે
No,
હવે
ma'am.
હું ફરી પ્લે કરું છું. બસ એટલું ખ્યાલ રાખજો કે ક્રેટરથી રિલેટેડ જે બી કહેશે ને એક્રમેનમાં એમાં એટલું યાદ રાખજો, આ મીનિંગ જોઈ લેજે. નાઉ ઇટ ઇઝ એન્ટાયરલી કવર્ડ બાય સી વોટર. નાઉ ઇટ ઇઝ એટલે હમણાંથી. વન ઓફ ધી મોસ્ટ બ્યુટીફુલ ઓન ધી અર્થ. આ બી વસ્તુ તો રિલેટેડ એ લોકો કહેતા જ નહીં, બટ ઓસ્ટ્રેલિયા નામ લે છે, રાઈટ?
Yes, ma'am.
In diameter and spawning earthquakes fierce enough to raise 100-meter high tsunamis in a shallow sea 300 kilometers away. Ancient, stable and unglaciated, the bedrock of Australia preserves some of the most photogenic impact craters in the world.
ખબર પડી?
Yes, ma'am.
So he is not using the term beautiful. He is not talking about, it has nowadays covered anything, right? See, so baki rayo. In the world, he said, that means then others in Australia, right? So comparison ni વાત કરી and Australia નું નામ લીધું. So when A and B is not mentioned, so there is no point that you ignore C. Spectacular means what?
બહુ જ સારું. Maybe.
Okay, comparing to what? Other thing in Australia. તો ઓસ્ટ્રેલિયામાં જે બીજા છે કે આખા વર્લ્ડમાં જે બીજા છે એના કરતા less spectacular, like that. So when you heard that word Australia, એક keyword બી સાંભળેલો ને એનાથી બી માર્ક કરી દઈશ તો રાઈટ આવી જ જશે. ક્લિયર?
Yes, ma'am.
હવે વિલિયમ્સ કીવર્ડ આપી છે તો વિલિયમ્સે પિક્ચર કઈ જોયો હતો? સો હી ઓલ્સો રેફર્ડ ધી ટર્મ ટેક્સ્ટ બુક એન્ડ એવરીથિંગ. તો બે જ ઓપ્શન બાકી રહે. એમાં એક 100 પિક્ચર્સ ટેકન ફ્રોમ અબાઉ, એ વિઝિટ કર્યું હતું ફર્સ્ટ ટાઈમ, કાં તો એને ટેક્સ્ટ બુકમાં જોયું હતું. હવે શું એ બોલે છે અંદર એ જો.
Acraman is not one of them. 500 million years of erosion has taken its toll. A salt pan surrounded by low hills is all that remains to mark the site of the cataclysm. The true nature of the place dawned on geologist George Williams at Adelaide University in 1979. Gazing at a sheaf of newly acquired satellite images,
સેટેલાઇટ ઇમેજીસ કીધું ને, તો શું આવે આન્સર? એ. That means taken from above. Gauging means seeing the picture.
he saw the small circular shape of Lake Acraman surrounded by a ring of faults and low scarps 40 kilometres across, and an outer ring twice this size. A year later, he made it to the site. On islands near the centre of the lake, Williams found bedrock shattered in a conical
So Williams find the red rock ને કઈ મળ્યું?
pattern that experts consider a sure sign of a meteorite impact. Except for a crater, which had long since eroded, the area was a textbook example of an impact site. In 1985, further intriguing evidence turned up. Vic Gostin, another Adelaide geologist, had been studying a thin band of fragmented red volcanic rock in 600-million-year-old shale in the Flinders Ranges, more than 300 kilometres east of Acraman. To his bewilderment, the volcanic chunks turned out to be 1 billion years older than the shale. Where had they come from? Comparing samples, Gostin and Williams found that their rocks were identical. The red rock in the Flinders Ranges had been blasted there from Acraman. Later, the same material turned up at sites 500 kilometres from Acraman.
That means it was away from the Acraman, ના? જે ઓપ્શનમાં આપ્યું છે એ over 300
Another
કર્યું
Adelaide
છે.
geologist
500 kilometers he said. તો over વાળું આવે. It was not at the place 500 kilometer. It was Acraman થી દૂર. તો from વાળું preposition આવે. એટલે Acraman જે rock મળ્યું હતું એનાથી દૂર over 300 kilometers પર મળ્યું હતું. Several places. ખબર પડી? So here the option should be B, not C. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And the next one
ma'am.
is?
had been studying a thin band of fragmented meters east of Acraman, 1 billion years older. The red rock in the Flinders Ranges had been blasted there from kilometres from Acraman.
What made the seawater shake?
Everywhere, the bands of fragments showed the same structure. Coarse pebbles at the bottom, then a cocktail of silt and sand, then layers of increasingly fine sand, distorted on top into a wavy, scalloped pattern. These layers also show, step by step, how the meteorite transformed the floor of an ancient sea, hundreds of kilometres away, according to Malcolm Wallace of Melbourne University. First came the earthquake.
So what is the first thing he speak? It can be earthquake.
Travelling at about 3 kilometres a second, shock waves arrived
Next is what threw the pebbles into the air.
offshore within a minute or two of the collision, stirring up the water with clouds of silt as the seabed shook. Then shattered rock from the explosion arrived by air.
Pebbles એટલે explosion, shattered rock એટલે explosion થી થાવ into air. So explosion becomes the answer.
Pebbles and boulders crashed into the water, reaching a depth of about 200 metres within a minute. One day they would become the lower band of the Flinders Rock. Sand took up to an hour to come to rest.
So what mixed? What come to rest? Sand, he speaks.
Finally bedding down with the silt was all
Finally bedding down with the silt. એટલે sand and silt was mixed to form a layer of rock.
also now settling on the sea floor as the effects of the earthquake died away. This mixture would eventually form the next layer. About an hour after the meteorite's impact, huge waves rolled in, leaving the ripples on the surface that later hardened into rock.
So what shaped the ripples on the top of the rock? What rolled in? Waves. So you write the huge waves, you write only waves, anything is fine. Clear, Thav?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's go with the next one. That is writing task 1. એક મિનિટ હા. ટાસ્ક 1 માં શું આપ્યું છે મેં તમને વીટ એક્સપોર્ટ્સ. याद से भूलना नहीं.
आपको याद रखना है, मैं तो रख दूंगा.
हाँ ओके. Wait, it's sports. All right. તમારા પોઈન્ટ્સ રેડી છે? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ready.
એક મિનિટ હા. આ ઇમેજ ખાસું બ્લર છે. चलेगा. Sure. બહુ ઝૂમ ઇન નહીં કરતી because then Okay, question એવું છે, the graph below shows wheat exports in 3 different regions. બસ એટલું જ છે. So write a report. Basically તમને અહીંયા 1985, 1986, 1987, 1988 timeline આપી છે. It is very clear 1985 to 1990 છે. That means it should be written in past. The very first thing. Line graph છે. So you have to start from the beginning till the end. Clear tha? Yes, no.
Yeah.
Make
Yes.
sure this things isn't millions of tons. You can use this as an example. So I can simply say the line graph, the graph के जगह पे, shows के जगह पे I can say indicates the wheat exports. Now wheat export का कुछ change नहीं कर सकते. So wheat export वैसे ही रहेगा in I can say 3 region or 3 countries, something like that. Australia, Canada and European Community. Full stop. The scale, from 1985 to 1990, from these 3 different region, right? Full stop. The scale is in millions of tons. But when you write with number, you cannot say 15 millions of ton. You write 15 million tons. Clear thayo?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay, fine. Now, if we look at this, વેદાંશ તારું શું અપ્રોચ થશે આમાં? કેવી રીતે લખીશ? કેટલું પેરેગ્રાફ બનાવીશ?
2 paragraph.
ઓકે, ફર્સ્ટ પેરેગ્રાફમાં કયો ડેટા એક્સપ્લેન કરીશ તું?
And first paragraph mark roughly introduction, and then in second paragraph all these things.
All
Yeah.
of them, you are not going to segregate them. Okay. Okay, so you're going to make one paragraph. What about Kalapika?
2 body paragraphs in which 3 years for the first one and the next 3 years for second one.
You'll go with the years, not with the trend. Trend is important. How is trend, Kalapika? All are increasing?
No.
Then which two should be taken together and which one should be written separately? Either you write it with a however linker क्योंकि वही होगा, because ये trend increase हुआ, green वाला increase हुआ, but blue वाला तो decrease हो रहा है. तो ये blue वाला जब explain होगा ऑस्ट्रेलिया का, वो टाइम पे तो आपको however linker यूज ही करना है. Whether you use however linker for the next paragraph or use it in the same paragraph between. Getting both of you?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So what should be done here first now? You cannot distribute it with the years, huh? Always distribute with the trend. Line graph में year distribute नहीं होगा, क्योंकि जो भी trend आप explain करोगे वो first से लेकर end तक explain करना है आपको. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Next. So how you're going to do that? Can I say firstly, or I can say to begin with, सबसे पहले कनाडा का देखते हैं, क्योंकि वो ही सबसे हाईएस्ट पे आया था. उसके बाद यूरोपियन कम्युनिटी का देखते हैं एंड उसके बाद ऑस्ट्रेलिया का. सो कैन आई से कैनेडाज टू बिगिन विथ कैनेडाज एक्सपोर्ट इन कया ईयर में 1985 वर अराउंड 19 मिलियन टन्स. अराउंड 19 मिलियन कहेवाय.
Yes, ma'am.
I can say they decreased. Can you see this? They decreased to below 20 million away kehwai, and there was a sharp increase during the first year. So I'm not writing this year now, so I just use the phrase using the term during the first year it decreased, okay, below 20 millions, right? And then there was a sharp increase to as much as 25 million tons by the year 1988, there was a sharper fall. A sharp increase kidu. So you can also use the term there was a rapid decrease or it decreased rapidly to below 15, right? In
Yeah.
the year 1989, KY, and then it shoot up to the same again 19 KY,
Yeah.
okay, to the same number of exports, that is 19 million at the end of the year, or to the same number of exports from the later days or earlier from the earlier like 1985, it showed the same exports of 19 million at the end of the year. Use any of the referencing term. So it જ્યાંથી ચાલુ થયું ફ્લક્ચ્યુએટ કરીને પાછું તઈ જઈ ગયું, રાઈટ, 19 મિલિયન પર. હવે એવી જ કેસમાં યુરોપિયનમાં શું થાય છે દેવાંશ? યુરોપિયનનું એક્સપ્લેન કર.
European no at 1985 it decreased below 15 below 15 millions of ton. Then in 1986 is rises.
તો પહેલા 17 સ્ટાર્ટિંગ પોઈન્ટ તો કે 17 થી ચાલુ થયું હતું. So whereas exports of European community, it dropped initially starting from 17 million tons to કેટલા?
Around 14.
Around 14 million tons in 1986. Same trend રાખવાનું, જેવી રીતે ઉપર એક્સપ્લેન કર્યું છે એ જ પકડીને નહીં. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
And પછી next 2 years there was a marginal increase. Marginal એટલે બહુ increase નહીં, minor. So next 2 years, 1 and 2, there was a marginal increase, and in the final years, directly 1990 સુધી કહેવાય,
Yeah.
it jumped or it peaked to over 20 million tons in the export of wheat or to export wheat. Clear through?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
say now that was highest in 1990 બાકી કરતા છે ને. રેસ્ટ કમ્યુનિટી કરતા તમે ગ્રીન વાળું જોવા જાઓ તો આ બી જે ઇન્ક્રીઝ થયો આમાં કરતા તો યુરોપિયન કમ્યુનિટીની જે ઇન્ક્રીઝ થયો એ વધારે કહેવાય ને, હાઈએસ્ટ, રાઈટ? એવી રીતે બી તમે કહી શકો છો. Additionally, you can say, however, or on the other hand, the Australian figures was the lowest KY. It started in 1985 and it had a marginal, or you can use the term nominal, increase in the next year. Thank you, Arvind. In the next year. Kaya year might started with which number again? Australia ma?
15.
So it was lowest from comparing to this two.
Yeah.
That is 15 million tons in 1985. There was a nominal increase, within a year, but then there was a sharp drop or it decreased continuously till the end of the year. Okay, to કેટલું? 11 million KY.
Yeah.
Or you can also say there was a steady decrease by the end of the year in 1990 with approximately 11 million tons of wheat export. Clear thou? Yes or no?
Yes.
આનું ઓવરઓલ શું આવશે હવે? What would be the overall? શું આવશે overall? આપણે બે ટ્રેન્ડનું કીધું, રાઈટ? સો ઇન જનરલ ફ્લક્ચ્યુએશન એમાં હતું, ફ્લક્ચ્યુએશન એમાં દેખાય છે કેનેડામાં. So you can say fluctuations in the case of Canada, although કંઈ ઇમ્પ્રુવમેન્ટ નથી ફ્લક્ચ્યુએશન થયો હતો. બટ યુરોપિયનનું શું થતું હતું? યુરોપિયન એક્સપોર્ટ્સ ઇટ રીચ ટુ ધી હાઈએસ્ટ wheat exportsમાં. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
it started off with lower but it reached to highest. And what in case of Australia?
It decreased.
Okay, decrease ફરી ના વાપરવું હોય તો declined બી કહેવાય.
Decline.
ખબર
Decline.
પડી? Okay, so if you write two element exactly લખવાનું, તમે બસ increase decrease લખો તો બી ચાલશે. But fluctuate બી લખવું હોય તો 3 elements થઈ જશે. So you already have 3 elements. એવી રીતે બી લખો તો બી ચાલશે. Clear?
Yes.
છે કઈ ડાઉટ?
મેમ એ લાસ્ટ પેરેગ્રાફમાં સ્ટાર્ટિંગ કેમનું કરવાનું, કયા વર્ડથી?
લાસ્ટ પેરેગ્રાફ એટલે સી ઇટ ડિપેન્ડ્સ બેટા. તું આ વાળું લખું છું ને, કેનેડા વાળું, સોરી ઓસ્ટ્રેલિયા વાળું, તો હવેવર થી ચાલુ થાય, કારણ કે અપોઝિટમાં છે ને ટ્રેન્ડ આ બે કરતા. આ બંને સાથે એક્સપ્લેન કરવાનું, આને અલગથી એક્સપ્લેન કરવાનું. અલગથી એટલે સેમ પેરેગ્રાફમાં યુઝ હોય તો યુઝ ઓન ધી અધર હેન્ડ કાં તો ઓલ્ધો. એન્ડ અલગથી બી યુઝ કરું તો સેમ લિંકર બટ કોન્ટ્રાડિક્ટિંગ લિંકરથી થશે, બીકોઝ ધીસ ટ્રેન્ડ ઇઝ અપોઝિટ ટુ ધીસ ટુ. બીજું કઈ ડિફરન્સ નહીં. ઓકે, જે ઇન્ક્રીઝ થતું હોય દેટ ઇઝ વોટ યુ કોલ ગ્રુપિંગ. જે ઇન્ક્રીઝ થતું હોય એને સાથે કરવાનું, એન્ડ જે અપોઝિટ ટ્રેન્ડ હોય એને અલગથી એક્સપ્લેન કરવાનું. So you make a separate paragraph of it. If not, you write it on the same write it in the same paragraph but using a contradicting linker. Clear થયો દેવાંશ?
હા મેમ.
ઓકે, બીજી કઈ ડાઉટ? Yes, no, anything?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay, fine. So now I'll be ending the meeting. Tomorrow we have reading and writing task too. So ready રાખજો, huh? At 10 o'clock. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay then. Bye everyone. See you
Bye,
tomorrow.
ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.